Hello, my name is Peter DiStefano, and I'm a civil engineer with AECOM. In this video, I will talk about the design concepts at Chestnut Street as they relate to the four rail profile alternatives. If you haven't already, please take a look at the video clip that describes each of the rail profiles currently being studied in the city. This can be accessed off of the link up here on the on the TV screen on the far right. To access the design concepts for Chestnut Street, click on the blue icon at Chestnut on the far right-hand side of the table. This will take you to this window, providing you with three selections: a grade separation for all modes of travel for alternatives 1, 2, and 3, a grade separation for pedestrians and bikes only, also for alternatives 1, 2, and 3, and we have alternative 4. The reason we combine alternatives 1, 2, and 3 into one is because the rail alignment and elevation at Chestnut are essentially the same for all three. If you click on this icon, it'll take you to an exhibit that shows a grade separation of Chestnut for all modes of travel: motor vehicles, pedestrians, and bikes. If you click on this button in the lower right, it will put you into full screen mode, and you'll be able to use your mouse wheel to zoom in and pan to see more detail. In this concept, the tracks are raised about 6 feet, and the road is lowered a maximum of about 15 feet. This provides the vertical space needed for the road to pass under the tracks. This concept is very similar to the design at Jefferson Avenue in downtown, where the road dips under the rail and the sidewalk is elevated slightly above the road. The depressed sidewalk is depicted in blue, as you can see here in the plan view, and the depressed road is depicted in purple. Actually, those colors are matching here in the profile view as well. The road begins its descent at Chestnut Street, dips under the railroad bridge, and ends its ascent just before Heller Street. Note that the profile view is exaggerated 5 times on the vertical axis. This allows us to see the elevation differences between the road, sidewalk, and tracks a bit more clearly at this scale. One unique aspect of this concept is that the sidewalk on the north side of Chestnut, west of the tracks, will remain at its current elevation so that pedestrians can access the planned building for the South Main mixed-use project. This could be seen over here. Let's zoom in a little bit. This project was recently approved by the City Council, and a stairway is proposed on the southeast corner of the building to allow access under the tracks. I'll show this on another drawing here in just a minute. In this concept, the connection between Chestnut and Pennsylvania will be removed because the roads will be at a significant different elevation. Some property may be acquired to accommodate this design, and a few driveways will have to be regraded to match the lowered road. These locations are shown here with the green dots. To exit out of full screen mode, zoom back out, click on the X or anywhere outside the image. In this view, you'll see these blue lines with the arrows on each end, labeled A, B, and C, and these will provide section cuts or views from various locations. If you click on section A over here on the right, under the selective view menu, this shows you a cross-section of Chestnut west of the tracks, showing the lane and sidewalk widths. This section shows the sidewalk elevations more clearly. On the left or the north side of Chestnut, the sidewalk approximately follows the existing street elevation. You can see it here matching this green line, the existing ground. And pedestrians will descend down the stairs just before the railroad bridge. On the right, the sidewalk will follow a profile slightly above street level, but allows for a vertical clearance of about 10 feet under the rail structure. As mentioned earlier, this design is similar to the one at Jefferson Avenue. Looking at elevation or section cut B, this is looking north towards the new South Main mixed-use project building. This image shows the profile of the road without any vertical exaggeration. And zooming in, we could see that stairway that provides access underneath the railroad bridge. Again, clicking the X will take you back to the previous view. And then finally, section or elevation view C. This one is looking west from Pennsylvania Avenue. And here you can see the west facade of that building. Each of these files can be downloaded to your computer for future viewing by clicking here on the lower right. Clicking on the X will take you back to the alternative selection screen. The second icon takes you to an exhibit that shows a grade separation of Chestnut for pedestrian bikes only. This concept was developed to provide the city an option for closing Chestnut to motor vehicles and thus minimizing impacts to properties. A traffic analysis is currently being performed to determine the impacts of that closure. Just like on the previous example, this concept is the same for alternatives 1, 2, and 3 because of the rail alignment and elevation are virtually the same for all three. In this concept, Chestnut is closed to motor vehicle traffic, but a 20-foot wide pedestrian tunnel is provided under the tracks to allow for ped and bike access. ADA accessible ramps for people walking or with bikes are shown as reddish color. Let's go into full screen mode and zoom in and take a closer look at that. The ramp begins its descent here on the south side of the street, makes a 90-degree turn at the bottom of the ramp, makes another 90-degree turn, and after passing through the tunnel, pedestrians will make another 90-degree turn to the right, travel south up the ramp for about 70 feet, then make a 180-degree turn, then ascend some more before meeting up with the existing sidewalk on the south side of Chestnut. Stairs are also provided on each side of the tunnel. More detail of this can be seen on the section cut views. Let's take a look at section cut A. So it shows a typical section through the tunnel, 20-foot width. And then on section cut B, this is a longitudinal section through the tunnel that shows the stairs a little bit more clearly. Clicking on the X will take you back to the alternative selection screen. Lastly, the third icon is for alternative 4, which only grade separates Whipple Avenue. So Chestnut Street in this alternative will remain as it exists today. Clicking on this icon will open up a Google Street View image of the railroad crossing at Chestnut. Clicking on the X will take you back to the alternative selection screen.